What's up, GeekGirl World? Christine here, and welcome to my second film review. I still have not come up with a name, so if you can think of one that's like really catchy, comment it. I might use it. So the film that I'm doing today is called Solace, and it stars Anthony Hopkins, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Abbie Cornish, and Colin Farrell. It was directed by Afonso Poyart, which I'm hoping I'm pronouncing correctly, but it sounds right to me, so I'm going to stick with it. And the cinematography is by Brendan Galvin. So, quick synopsis. FBI agents Joe Merriweather, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and Catherine Cowles, played by Abbie Cornish, are hunting for a serial killer. And he's already killed a bunch of people, and they just keep hitting a dead end. So they enlist the help of psychic John Clancy, played by Anthony Hopkins, who used to work with Joe to help them crack the case. So what's going to be different from my review last time, which I did GOAT, if any of you saw that, it was kind of intense and not structured properly. But basically I'm going to make this really easy. I'm going to tell you what I did like and what I didn't like. Seems simple enough. I'm not going to go into spoiler territory because there was a problem with that last time where I didn't say when I was going to do spoilers, and you know, my brain's not all that great, so I'm just going to avoid that altogether. I'm not going to give you the full plot or anything like that. That's the extent of what you're going to get plot-wise, which is just what you would read on the back of a DVD. Anyway, so what I liked how it looked. I come from a visual background. You know, I went to photography school. My boyfriend is a cinematographer, so a lot of times I focus on that initially. Brendan Galvin, the cinematographer, did a lot of Westworld, which, you know, Anthony Hopkins, it's good. There's a family there. But he did a lot of really cool things visually. One thing in particular, when John Clancy would touch somebody, he would get a psychic vision. That's not a spoiler, it happens in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. I digress. So he would touch somebody and get a vision about them, or, you know, something to do with them. And the vision would be such a contrast to the current scene that it would jar you. Like, I think the first time it happened, I actually like got really like freaked out for a second, which is cool because that sort of makes you think about how the character feels about this sort of thing. Like, you know, John Clancy is kind of overwhelmed with this stuff, these visions that he gets, so he's a very intense character. Moving on, I also liked Anthony Hopkins' character, John Clancy, the psychic. Actually, I'm gonna backtrack a little. I didn't initially like his performance. Straight out of the gate, I wasn't really sure about it. A couple scenes where I was like, is he bored? I was getting the bored vibe, and then I thought about it afterwards, and it was like, well, no, I don't think that was boredom. I think he was trying to keep in control. Because if you see the movie, if you decide to see it, he has a lot going on in his life, and also tacked on with all the visions that he has, there's a lot of chaos going on. So I guess what I initially thought was boredom, I thought about later and realized, yeah, it is him trying to keep in control of his life and that sort of thing. I also liked the first half of the movie. I thought there was a lot of potential there for it to go a certain direction and be really sinister. And if you decide to see it, I'll say that a lot, if you decide to see it, because my opinion is not fact. If you decide to see this movie, you may love it. You may think that it was spectacular and nothing wrong with it. I'm gonna trudge now into what I didn't like. So, I didn't like the second half of the movie. Yeah, so basically they started out with something really strong, and then slowly but surely it kind of trickled into something really convoluted and complicated, where, you know, I'm all for thinking during a movie, obviously. Like, I enjoy those sorts of movies, but this was more of like a too much going on. It was, there was a lot of potential there, but it just kind of fizzled out. It actually, moving on to the next part, I had a problem with the villain, played by Colin Farrell. I'm not going to go into details about what the villain was like, just that the villain also had potential to be something really cool, but in my opinion, it went kind of cartoony and over-exaggerated and kind of over the top at the end, where it could have just stayed pretty subtle and it would have been even creepier. So, my final verdict, I didn't really care for it much. I think there was a lot there. It could have been something really cool. That whole, you know, the psychic aspect of a crime thriller, that would have been really awesome. But it fell kind of short for me. if you're gonna see, or if you want to see a crime thriller along those same lines, I would recommend Seven over that movie. It definitely drew a lot of inspiration from Seven, you could tell, but it fell short for me. But like I said before, this is my opinion. If you have seen the previews for the movie and have thought, wow, this is going to be really awesome, I will not take that away from you. If you want to see that movie, I say go for it. You may see something that I didn't see, and you know, that's what makes the world go round. Differing opinions. It's awesome. Alright, so that is my second movie review. Kept it short and sweet. If you like what you saw, you know, comment, tell me. If you hated it, I mean, you can tell me, but like, just don't be mean. Give me suggestions, constructive criticism, anything besides just like, boo, you suck. That doesn't help me at all. As always, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.